alternative, like you rightly explained, it's like a platform, a political platform. But aren't you worried that while this alternative, you're trying to bring up steam, you have the political parties coming down? Peter Obi is in Labour Party. Is not holding his ground in Labour Party. Atiku is in PDP. Is holding his ground in PDP. You have Wike also in PDP, not holding his ground there. Aren't you worried that whatever you do in the alternative, the ultimate is about 2027? If these structures, political structures, are weakened, you have strong men instead of strong institutions, strong political structure. Aren't you worried?
Well, it is because of that type of worry that we're trying to engage, energize, and encourage other Nigerians to be interested in this issue. Imagine a situation where the best brains, like you and I, or you and your friend, are not even interested in actively being interested or supporting or members of the political party, and the millions of lecturers and the millions of them are just not interested. You're going to leave the first safeguard, which is political party, you're going to leave it in the hands of charlatans. And then when they then do whatever they know how to do, because you have left it to them, they're going to produce of their own nature the candidates. And then what you don't have independent candidate, even if you wanted to have independent candidate, you can't create the structure. Then you're going to pick from one finger of two leprosy hands. So to solve it, it's almost like a micro evolution, small steps to get people to say, we can't continue like this. Yes. Let us start to figure out a better way. In terms of the party structures and all that, my view, if you recall, my view has always been, and I told the PDP clear, after the 2023 election, I came to the absolute conclusion that having not been successful in 3 elections back to back, whatever excuse we give ourselves when we're rigged is no longer tenable. Because if you were rigged the first time, why did you allow yourself to rig the second time? If you were rigged the second time, why did you allow yourself to rig the third, assuming you were rigged? So I then said, okay, why don't we just accept that there is a need to reform and reinvigorate and relearn and retool the party. Of course, I don't have the power to force them, but they cannot say I didn't tell them. The thing is getting worse. Therefore, shall we now say, because for want of a better argument, the PDP seems not to be serious, shall we now say that 2027 is going to be a walkover in the park for the president? I'm not even sure the president will like that. Democratic conversation thrives. Democratic participation thrives. Democratic selection of people thrive when you can at least bring 2 for them. They have to carry this one and carry this one. And I always tell people, every election is a referendum. It's a referendum on the activities of the ruling party according to the program, which they will bring to the table. Because they're busy doing something anyway. And it is also a referendum on the opposition, how they have done themselves, what they have done with them. Look at UK, for instance. You have Kemi Badenoch now, the leader of Conservative. You say whatever you like about her, she's already there. And the Conservative Party is having new energy, new gusto. And what are we going to say that Kemi is better than us in Nigeria? Come off it, man. She's our child. Whether she likes it or not, she's still our kid. And whatever energy she's able to bring to the table, we can produce thousands of millions in Nigeria. So why would we then have opposition political parties who are now not seeing that competence, capability, grit, and interest for common good is what should drive? And I expect the judiciary to be hard on them. I beg the judiciary, be very hard on us, opposition, because I think that they are not able to change by self. The only way I think they can change is by consequence. So anytime they come with their silly cases, slam them, so that you will be tough, you'll be cruel, you'll be hard on them so that you can kill them with the malady. Otherwise, we're going to end up saying we're in a one-party state. And then the question would then be, who drove us into a one-party state? We would have driven ourselves into a one-party state because we would have created the impression in the minds of the larger citizens of our country who are even disenchanted as it is with the whole process. They fear that their votes won't count. They fear that the judiciary will not do them good. They fear that what was same or same. Why would the political parties not understand that they have to reform? And if they don't want to reform, the next best thing is to take citizen advocacy to another level, which is what the alternative is. So you guys, you need to be telling me thank you for even thinking that far out.
Well, we'll keep our eye on your political movement, but let's move on to other matters. You have called on President Tinubu to dismantle his economic team. You're not the first person to say that, but where do you think the problem lies? Do you think it's an issue of his policies and reform being poorly conceived, or the economic team implementing them and not just doing a good job?
You know, two groups of people carry the can in a democracy like ours. The media team, because when they have problems, it's not only the media team is not good, and the economic team when the indicators are the way they are. So there's nothing spectacular about the call. The reason, and I was the first to say that, he put out his team day one, day two, I said, no, this team is wrong. So others joined in later. The reason why I asked him to dismantle that economic team is because I want him to do himself a favor. How do I mean? If you are in a multi-tribal, multi-ethnic, multi-language society where, because of the way we have handled our country up till now, I'm not blaming him entirely, there's too much mutual distrust. We run a feeding bottle economy where everybody comes into Abuja to pick their money and whatever, and whoever has the good side of Abuja is going to be even strong in his base. You need to ensure that the Nigerian citizens, critical stakeholders in the country, do not feel an unease that the only brilliant people you can find to run the Nigerian economy are your tribe men. Once you do that, you are going to put everybody in a situation where they're going to be saying, everything will now be having suspicion. They will have a pushback because their own people, none of their people is on the table when it is being designed. So when you see that, and I've gone around the country anyway, I put my ears close to the ground, I've listened to what their leaders are saying. The best thing I think you can do is, as liberties, to do it or not do it, is to now say, okay, I hear, it's true, this thing is too lopsided. Let us find others. Somebody from the south, if you like, somebody from the north, if you like, somebody, so that the whole idea of our federal character concept, it was not designed to make us inefficient. It was designed to make us cohesive. So
are you saying that the Tinubu government is tilting towards a particular side?
Everybody knows
on your Twitter handle, you pinned a post stating that his government favors the Yorubas more than any other.
Exactly.
Don't you think you should verify this fact before making such statements?
Let me bring you data.
Because you know the presidency has come out to deny this statement.
The presidency can deny whatever they like to deny. We're not fools and we're not blind. Who is in charge? Who is the Minister of Finance? Who is the CBN governor? Who is in charge of taxation? Who is in charge of policy of taxation? Who is in charge of custom? Who is in charge of... Do you want me to continue? The point I'm making is that the cabinet must be looked at from sectoral analysis. The sector, this is the finance sector. This is the construction, if you like, or the people that are going to spend the money, education, health, and then these are the ones that are just going to be doing policy. You have a great duty. You see, to win an election is easy. To form government is more difficult because you have to look at it and say, okay, why will all the revenue, financing, control, CBN, why will it be in only your tribe? I know you see, when we call it in Yoruba tribe, we're just fancying it. It's not. It's purely within his Lagos boys.
But
the CBN man, the former commissioner,
as a Yoruba man that you are, yes. Aren't you worried that your statements can pitch you against your kinsmen?
You see, thank you, but my kinsmen must be sensible enough to know that I'm actually doing us a favor, reverse psychology. If your kinsman is president and you're watching him eat, if you like, cockroaches, and he's eating it, you're not talking. When he starts vomiting, who's going to look after him? Now, if you continue on this trajectory, I'm screaming now, they're talking kingsmen. If you continue on this trajectory, flip it to when you have to go back to the people again and tell them, oh, please give me votes. Then they will remind you that of your 8-point-something million votes, 6-point-something came from the northern part of the country. And then they would then have the right to go to their people and tell them, he hates us. And if you just adjusted it a bit, there are brilliant people everywhere.
Now, Shegun,
let me finish. If you just adjusted it a bit, you say, okay, he's listening. Okay, at least he has brought Mustafa. Hello, I am too big a national patriot to reduce myself into a tribal champion.
Now, let me bring you back to this. During the election, there was this narrative that people were going with. Muslim